Habari ma Afrika, mimi ni King, nina furaha kukutana na wewe. Asante kwa kutazama King Said So. Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to discuss two very crucial and important topics. The first topic is KwaZulu-Natal. What is the ANC going to do with KwaZulu-Natal? Now, Fikile Mbalula has given us an answer from the NEC saying that on their table, there's three options when it comes to how they're going to deal with the KwaZulu-Natal situation. The first situation is that they can maintain the status quo, meaning not to change anything. The second option is to reinforce and collaborate the structures of KwaZulu-Natal. And the third option is the option that we're all hoping that they're going to take, is to dissolve that structure and start up fresh. It's something that they need to do because KwaZulu-Natal, compared to all the provinces, compared to national numbers, they dropped the most than everybody. From 54% to 16%, or let's say 17%. That's more than a 30-something percent droppage. You know, a big drop for KwaZulu-Natal. Some heads need to roll. Somebody needs to take accountability for what happened there in KwaZulu-Natal. And we have to talk about Blade Zimbane. He was there in the Dr. Susan Pofu Walsh podcast talking about something that shook my spine when he said Nelson Mandela in 1996-1997 came to the NEC and said, listen, I've got a list here with me, and this list is of all the leaders of the ANC who worked with our enemy, meaning who worked with the apartheid government, and they even worked with the international community, spying the ANC's movement. And the action that Nelson Mandela decided to take after that is something that I don't think many leaders could do what Nelson Mandela did, because it's something special to have a leader that can think clearly like Nelson Mandela. I respect him so much. You know, we have always labeled him as a sellout and everything, but this story that Blade Zimbane has came out and told us, I have to applaud what Nelson Mandela did. Let's talk about that and much more.
Welcome to King Said So, Africa's one land, one language, one currency, one army on King Said So. Africans can unite. Your Pan-Africanist podcast. Enjoy.
Peace in Pan-Africanism to all my African brothers and sisters from all around the world. Welcome back to King Said So. I'm your host, Kagiso Hlongwane Zinjiva Sono, and we're back at it again with another one. And this time around, we're talking Fikile Mbalula, Blade Zimbane, and the Dr. Susan Pofu Walsh podcast. Before we do that, please allow me to ask you guys to watch the Dr. Susan Pofu Walsh podcast 9 o'clock today. I'm going to drop this earlier before that so that you guys can watch it. Your boy was in Johannesburg with Dr. Susan Pofu Walsh. What a privilege it was for me to be on that platform. What you guys see actually was shot some weeks ago, but you know, we have to keep it under wraps because the guys, they are so professional in what they're doing, you know. And when going to the Dr. Susan Pofu Walsh podcast, taught me some things about my podcast and the leveling up that a person needs to do if we really want to be at the same standard. But we're doing good, not too bad. People are noticing who King Said So is all around South Africa. So I'm very privileged. It's because of you. I was told also that some of you went on their platform and told them, bring King Said So on the platform. I'm quite, grateful for the little time that I got there at Dr. Susan Pofu Walsh. The same goes with my sister Ntiki Mazwai, who also invited me. I was in a live stream actually yesterday. You guys need to go check that one out. It was fire. More than 2 hours of work that me and sister Ntiki put in there. So I'm also grateful that even herself, she considered King Said So as someone to bring on a platform. It's not easy for podcasters to bring other podcasts on their platform, you understand, because you understand this thing, but when you see African brothers and sisters working together like this, it brings some type of new hope to me actually. So I want to speak about Fikile Mbalula, the NEC, what they need to do to revive or salvage some type of support in KwaZulu-Natal, because the drop that they had, guys, from 2019 to 2024, and actually we can just say the drop that they had because of Zoma, it's crazy. The numbers are crazy. So we have to discuss that. But first, let's listen to Fikile Mbalula explaining that the NEC had 3 options on their table.
The NEWC consolidated its report and considered 3 options in relation to the challenges we are facing in the provinces. The first option was to maintain the status quo, to do nothing about it in the provinces. The second option was the option of reinforcement and consolidating the structures in the province and reinforce them. And then the third option was to dissolve the structures and start afresh. We said that all of those options will be considered today by the NEC. And we explained to you as members of the media then that nobody is dissolved, as it was the key buzzword. And the dissolution is just but one of the options that will be considered. And we did explain to you that we were simply doing an overview of what has been considered. But in relation to what really obtains in these provinces in our analysis, meaning a perspective of what happened, will be shared with you after the discussions and the resolve of the National Executive Committee.
So Fikile Mbalula explains that there are 3 options on the table. And for me, actually, there's only 2. There's no such thing as the first option. The first option of maintaining status quo is just nonsense. You can't do that. You can't keep insanities repeating the same thing and expecting different results. So they can't keep the same leadership in KwaZulu-Natal. They need to reshuffle that leadership. They need to do something in order to maybe get the votes back. I don't know if it's possible because most of the ANC's vote went obviously to the MK political party, and that's bottom line. They never went anywhere else. They just shifted to another political party. They changed the red, the yellow for the green. So it's nothing much that they can do. They have to do a lot of attacking politics with the MK political party, but they went into a provincial understanding with the IFP and the Democratic Alliance. That move will push them even further for some African people who say, but you guys are willing to work with our colonizers. The second option, they said they need to reinforce and collaborate the structures, meaning move this person here, put that person here, put a new person in, just change the position. This one is no longer the chair. This one is the chair, the secretary general. Just switch them over, which I don't think many ANC people will be happy with if they do that. But, ANC, they can do anything that is possible. The only viable option is the third option, of which they are saying they need to dissolve that structure in KwaZulu-Natal and start up fresh. This option, I understand it. Well, let me take you back. In 2019, if we go back to 2019, the ANC did very well. Even with the absence of Jacob Zuma out of the ANC. At that time, he was no longer the president. It was Cyril Ramaphosa's first election there. They got 54.22%. 54%. Very good number. But that number, like I say with the Democratic Alliance, once you are there in the 55-54, you must understand that you can lose that province. You cannot be comfortable at 51, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You can't. So there, the indicators were supposed to tell the ANC already that, hey, something is wrong. 54.22. You understand? So they dropped massively. In 2024, what they got was a 37% droppage to 16.99, which is 17%. Let's say to 17%. Imagine, ladies and gentlemen, 54 to 17%. I mean, that drop, you can only credit it to the Mkhonto Wesizwe political party. There isn't much wrong that they did that people would switch that much. It's the introduction of the MK political party in KwaZulu-Natal that just changed everything. So then we get to the situation where we ask, are you going to punish us because of the MK political party? Because we think if the MK political party did not form, we would have not been far from 50%, maybe 48, maybe 47, 45 maybe, but nothing far from 50%. You understand what I'm saying? Are they going to punish the leadership of KwaZulu-Natal because of the MK political party? The follow-up question, if they want to punish them by dissolving the whole structure, is that, okay, if you're dissolving us, are you going to dissolve National also? Are you going to dissolve Gauteng also? Because they also dropped a big number. You know, they were also in control of Gauteng in 2019, and now they are at 30-something% in 2024. So that's another question. Do you punish everybody, or do you just focus on punishing the individuals in KwaZulu-Natal? I think the ANC is trying to do this because they want to act on Panyaza in Gauteng. I promise you, that's what I'm thinking. I think they want to start in KwaZulu-Natal and justify their move for removing Panyaza, because Panyaza also lost there in Gauteng. By removing him, then they say, look, we did this to KwaZulu-Natal, now we need to do it to Gauteng also. You see, they might just say, no, let's just change the premiers. Let's just, something like that. I'm afraid they might do that, because who can trust Fikile Mbalula and that bunch of the ANC? Who can trust those people? So I wish them all the best. I don't know. I don't know. For me, the ANC is a political party currently that is sitting under 30%. We can debate this the whole day, but the ANC come 2026 local elections and 2029, they will not see 30%. They are far below than that right now. Let's talk about Blade Nzimande. Blade Nzimande, oh my goodness, said Nelson Mandela, when he was the president in 1996, 1997, he came with a list. This list was people of the ANC, leadership, members of the ANC, who are working with the apartheid government. Imagine.
I don't know what's the problem with your show, because now you're asking me to say things I haven't said.
Wow. We're
Mandela once in one NEC, I remember, it was around, I was elected onto the NEC in 1994 for the first time. December 1994, in a conference which was in Mangaung, Bloemfontein. And then, I think 1996 or 1997, we used to use the Senate House at UWC, University of the Western Cape.
Oh, I see. Okay.
When we were in Cape Town, when Parliament was in session.
Interesting.
So we would hold the ANC there. Mandela just came one day and said, look, here's a list that has been given to him of all ANC members and leaders who worked for the other side. We all got a shock in the meeting.
Whoa.
Including those who worked for foreign intelligence agencies, like the British, the CIA of Americans, and all that. Sure. And he said initially he doesn't know what to do. He's considering this because this thing is troubling him. But he's going to go back and consult with a few. I remember Governor Mbeki was there in the meeting. He mentioned that he's one of those people he's going to talk to. His own colleagues, of course.
Yeah.
The Rivonia crowd. He came back, I think, after a few months, and so on, and said, look, we've discussed this thing, and here is what I think we should do. We're not going to act on this list. For two reasons. One, how sure am I that this list is genuine? How sure am I that this list does not originate from the enemy?
Yeah, sure.
To cause problems amongst ourselves and mistrust. And secondly, he says we are in a government of national unity, which we were. I think it was 1996, yes, before de Klerk pulled out. Government of national unity, we are ruling together with our former enemies. Now, you want us to go and punish our own who were working with these people, but we are now working with these people. So why punish our own for having worked with people who are already serving together within government?
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
And then said, the decision really that must be taken is that from now onwards, let's forget about who worked for the enemy.
Sure.
Because that's going to divide us
Yeah.
and it's going to take us back. What should be our focus? What kind of South Africa we want to build?
Wow.
I'll never forget that. I may not be getting some details correct,
Yeah,
but
but
that's the essence.
Yeah.
That's why people who came up afterwards and say, so and so was working for the apartheid regime, that became an NEC decision. And I think that was very insightful, visionary, difficult as it was, because some of us were saying, yes, Matiba, say who they were, We didn't agree with what he did, but in hindsight, it was correct.
I did not take Blade as a person who gets excited in front of the camera. Because as much as that thing shocked Usizwe, it shocked me also. It shocked me completely. I was like, yeah, at least. Imagine if we can just get the names on that list. Yeah? All of them. Just imagine. And because Nelson Mandela, he took his time. He took his time and said, you know what? Let me go think about this. Let me go think about this list, of which other political parties and other political leaders right now in South Africa are not able to do this. Go, reframe, and think about the next step. Nelson Mandela, we have always classified him as one of the sellouts, the one who worked with white monopoly capitalists and everything. Now he comes with a list. I wonder if his name is not on that list. If his name is not number one, is that list? Oh my goodness, there's so many people there. Is Abo Zuma there on that list? All of these guys who are making noise about Solima Paila, are they not on the list? Blade himself, is he not on the list? Cyril Ramaphosa, Paul, all of them. Because it's a list. Was it a list of 5 people? List of 3 people? A list of 10 people? A list of 12 people? Wow. We don't know. We need to know this list. I hope Mandela told somebody about this list so that somebody one day, Tokyo Sohwale, will come out and say, listen, this is the list that Blade was talking about. Crazy. Imagine what will happen if Cyril Ramaphosa gets a list today and they say, this is the people that are working with the DA. Imagine what will happen. Imagine what Julius Silo Malema will do if he got a list today and they say, this is the list that's working with the MK. Just imagine what will happen. Now, the reasoning of Ubaba, he says, he took some few months. When he came back, he says, how do we know that this list is not from was not manufactured by our enemies to make us fight inside? That's a good question. As a leader, you have to reflect like that. You have to, and I'm happy Mandela took some months before taking a decision here, because you can take a clumsy decision. And the decision is that, how sure are we that this list is genuine? Number 2, he says, we are currently working in the government of national unity, which the government of the first government of South Africa was a government of national unity. That one, not this joke that we have now. That one was the first government of national unity. Why? Because there was an outright winner. There was a winner. So the winner did not have to work with the other people. The ANC won the elections in 1994, So they did not need to work with anyone. But we saw the engagement of the negotiations was, even if you win, you can't completely dissolve everyone, every white person from government position. We have to gradually work over. Even though de Klerk, after a year or 2, he said, "No, listen, I'm not working with you guys anymore." But anyway, we are working with a government of national confusion or of national unity at that time. Why would we take action against our own when we are working with the same enemies today? That question was deep. That question was deep. I want to know what would you have done, you as a leader? My African brothers and sisters, what would you have done? What do you want right now as an adult, as a young person who's watching this podcast? That list of Mandela, would you like to know who those people are? Or are you like Mandela to say, you know what, let's forget about this list. Let's forget about this thing. We are working currently with our enemies. So they are in the government of national unity right now. Peter Groenewald was in the political party that unalived Chris Hani. We are working with them. The Democratic Alliance is the national party. We are working with them. You know, so I want to know from you guys, what would you have done if you were Mandela? So the question is, why punish them when we have sold out, all of us? I think that's what Mandela was trying to say. We have sold out, all of us. Look at what we are doing. We have sold out, all of us. So there's no need to punish our brothers and sisters. Deep. These things are deep, guys. Politics. Imagine if Blade is dropping this story, such a big story, a list of people that worked with international agents and all of them. What do you call them? Foreign intelligent agencies. Imagine how many more stories don't we know? For example, we know that these leaders know who unalived, why Chris Hani was unalived, and who helped in that regard. We know they know. But they are taking that one to the grave, eh? They are taking, but one of these good days, they're going to sing one by one. They're gonna sing. They're gonna sing. They're gonna sing. I promise you. I promise you, they are singing one by one. So, a Blade really dropped the big one there. It just made me wonder, how many more stories don't we know? How many more stories are these people still hiding from us? I don't know. But what I know is that we as Black Africans right now, we are busy building the Pan-African School of Economics, Technology and Agriculture. And that is one of my reasons of going to the other platforms, is to speak to their followers, their subscribers, and tell them that, hey guys, there's something that we are busy with there in the Northern Cape. It's called PASETA, the Pan-African School of Economics, Technology and Agriculture. We're having a gala dinner. It's on the 2nd of May. If you want to support, come through. If you can't come through, please make a donation of 50 Rand and everything. 50 Rand, our books will be audited. People will not be playing with your money. I think we are finishing our financial year in July. So don't worry about anything like that comes to that. People, I know you guys are, someone says this Paseta thing will become VBS. I understand the fears that you guys have. And we just understand that I've got a family. I'm not willing to go to prison because of our people's 50 rands. Hey, no way am I leaving my family because of clumsy accounting practices. I'm not going to do that. But I'd like to thank each and everyone who has contributed their 50 rand to the Pan-African School of Economics, Technology and Agriculture, to this young man on YouTube that you have never met, that you are just believing to say this person is doing the right thing. You guys have seen we have used your money properly. We have developed website. We have developed Paseta in Lesotho, Namibia. We have developed. We have got the land. We are building at the land. We are not playing with you people. We want to build the first independent black school built by black money. That goal, we must achieve it in our lifetime. We must achieve it. So thank you so much, guys. Make sure that you go to www.paseta.co.za for more information about Paseta, about the Gala Dinner, and many other information that you would like to grab from there. Until we meet again, don't forget to pray. But after you pray, stand up, African child. Do your best so that God can do the rest. Peace in Pan-Africanism. I salute you.